Hello and welcome to the Girlfriends After Show. I'm James Lott Jr. If you're watching this, I may be a little washed out because I have a light over here. It is super, extremely hot in Los Angeles right now. We're going through a real big power surge and we're trying to conserve power. So I think I'm lit enough you can see me. So I'm normally better lit than this, but Zoom is what we're doing. If you're listening to this, that doesn't even matter. Moot point. Listening to this. We're going to talk about episode 7 from season 1, Everything Fishy Ain't Fish. It was originally aired 11/6/2000. That's 20 years ago almost. That's crazy. Thank you so much for listening and watching to the other episodes. I'm working to get guests on the show. I've seen that some of the people in the cast have actually liked some of my videos, like Golden Brooks and Joan Jones. They liked my videos, so I'm very excited. My hope is to get the 4 girls on here at some point, whether it's separately or together. Let's make that happen. It comes on Netflix in a few weeks, so I'm very excited about that. That's very exciting. In the meantime, let's talk about the episode. Once again, I'm learning new stuff every single time I watch these episodes, every single time. So, Joan talks to Toni. They're together, talking about she's on the cover of a magazine with City Councilman Tim Borden. He's white. Here's what's interesting. So now we see that Joan doesn't have a problem with it, of course, but that Toni will date white men. So now it's like, and again, it was treated just like no big deal, that she likes power, first of all. And that was the big question, was more like, Maya was kind of like, well, I'm not shocked that he's white, but that he's not rich. Because Toni is being established as kind of like I don't want to say gold digger. I guess that's like a basic term, but that she's somebody who wants status and money, but she wants the status that it brings because she comes from Fresno. And we're going to learn more about her and her upbringing when we meet her mother and her sisters and father, her brother. But she'll date white. But it's just, as she says, it's the power he does as a politician that could benefit her as a real estate person. So it's like tit for tat, scratch my back thing. But she has no problem with naming a white guy. Joan, on the other side of the story, the other A story, she saw Darnell having lunch with a woman. And she says she was feeding him a strawberry. And she was thinking, should I say something to Maya or not? Which people were telling her, well, you don't really know anything. You saw something that could be interesting, but it could be nothing. And that's actually a very interesting point. Would you, if you saw one of your best friends, man or woman or spouse or partner, wherever they are, with somebody that could be a possible interest, and you saw something like that happening, would you say something? So would I say something? Yeah. It's a good friend. I don't care. I know that whole shoot the messenger thing, but I don't care. I might say something. I would just be like, I was at the airport. I saw him. I talked to him. Some girls feeding him strawberries. I don't know if it means anything, but I'm just letting you know. I didn't ask for it. I was seeing it, but I know if I didn't say something, something was going on, it came out later that I knew, that's even worse than the friendship. So that's one thing. So those are 2 storylines. And the next thing going on, I'm sorry, it's so hot in here. I'm losing my balance here. Okay, and then the next thing is William's Republican. We kind of learned that, and we're learning that from the last couple episodes. He's very conservative. So showing a black man who's conservative, not a foreign concept at all. A lot of black Republicans and conservatives are out there. It's not normal. And Maya goes to her husband. He comes home one night and is acting strange. Doesn't want to make love to her. He says he's tired. She tries to seduce him, and she confronts Darnell. And Darnell turns it back around on her. He flips the script, as they say back in the day. The old chick's name was Celeste. They all went to high school together, apparently. And so so Maya's intuition is hitting her a little differently. The next day, Darnell comes to pick up Maya from work and decides to talk to Joan. Says he loves his wife. It was nothing. Joan's like, okay. And it's funny because Joan and Darnell get into it several times over the series. There's several different times that they get into it over things. It's kind of funny to watch one of the men of the group go off on one of the girls. It's a very interesting dynamic to see that happen. When he leaves, Maya then explains she doesn't believe him. She's right. I remember I wrote this down. He's a simple guy. He has never needed to explain himself before. And it's that women's situation. It's the wife's thing. It's this whole, I get my husband's habits are. Which makes sense. When you're with somebody, you get their habits. You know who they are. And this doesn't sound right to her. So that's a very interesting dynamic in this scenario. It's really very different. On the other side of it, we have the counselor learning about weaves. Tony's like, don't touch my hair. No, black women, don't touch my hair during sex. You know, and she uses certain phrases like BDBs and kitchen and all these phrases. It's really just things you don't even hear on TV very much. She kind of gave people a glimpse to what we say, the dialogue and things we use, what we call things. He's fascinated by it, and it's kind of funny. I mean, but it's also really real. It's kind of this thing where, you know, black women have a thing with their hair, and I know that black women will click some hair in, take some out, change hairstyles, and use it as part of like their wardrobe or their makeup. You know, changing their hair is very common. Yes, all women do it, but black women, especially that I know, they have no problem having a hairstyle today, one different one 2 days later, and people just like talk about it all the time, and people want to touch your hair. Can I touch your hair? It's like they're not animals or a petting zoo. Like you don't want to. It's something that I know. I mean, black men go through it too sometimes, but I know black women go through it especially. And I feel for them, and it's something. So it's kind of on a cliffhanger. It's like Maya doesn't believe her man. A really quick episode, and Tim and Toni are on the news, and he mentions the weave, saying I'm dating a black woman with Korean hair. It's like weaving together community. This whole thing is kind of funny. And then they asked Toni to speak, and Toni uses Joan's name, so kind of a little funny slapsticky thing. But I thought that's interesting how they decided to do that. Again, tackling topics that you know people don't talk about that often. They just bring it up. It's like no big deal. I like the dialogue is just normal and regular. I love it. I just think it's so interesting how this show was groundbreaking on so many different levels, and I didn't even really realize it the first time around. I'm James Lott Jr. Girlfriends right now is on BET Her and also on CW Seed. That's an app. It'll be on Netflix on September 11th. All the seasons. I'm so excited. So you can go and watch it. Come back and watch my after show when you're watching season 1. Now we're doing season 2 and 3. I'm gonna go through the whole thing. Some episodes may be doubled up. Some will be singular. Right now it's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking to get some guests in the show, so stay tuned for that too. Girlfriends After Show is on all streaming platforms under JLJ Media, Girlfriends After Show, and on YouTube at JLJ Media. Everyone, please stay safe and take care of each other.